Modern Garden Design 2025. Minimalist plants, smart lighting, and stylish patio ideas for small spaces. As we begin this exploration, I want you to imagine the garden not merely as a patch of greenery or an incidental extension of the home, but as a space consciously designed, as intentional and precise as the rooms we inhabit daily. In 2025, the philosophy guiding outdoor design is not about extravagance, nor about an abundance of elements fighting for attention. It is about clarity, simplicity, and purpose. When I design a garden today, I think of it as a living composition, an interplay of lines, textures, and light, where restraint and intentionality are the true markers of sophistication. The central principle is this: less, but better. A single stroke of design, well placed, carries more weight than a clutter of gestures competing for dominance. The story of modern garden decor in 2025 begins with plants, but not in the way we once thought of them. Gone are the sprawling collections and the excessive layering of species, the attempt to recreate an entire forest in a single backyard. Instead, we celebrate the sculptural essence of plants. We elevate them to architectural features, not just horticultural specimens. Think of a tall snake plant in a concrete planter, its upright leaves rising like columns. Imagine a bamboo palm, airy yet deliberate, casting rhythmic shadows on a stone wall. Or consider ornamental grasses swaying gently, turning the simplest breeze into a choreography of movement. Each plant, carefully chosen, holds its own narrative, like a crafted detail in a building's facade. This is where the architect in me speaks most clearly. The garden becomes a space of lines and forms. Succulents with their geometric patterns, agaves with their sharp radial symmetry, or a singular tree with a bold silhouette. Each one can stand as a focal point, a sculptural anchor. The composition of the garden, then, is not about the quantity of plants, but about the clarity of expression. Just as I would never overload a structure with unnecessary ornamentation, I do not overload a garden with botanical variety. Instead, I allow space to breathe. I use negative space, open gravel, smooth decking, or untouched soil as a design element equal in importance to the plants themselves. This interplay of fullness and emptiness defines modern elegance. But minimalism is not about absence, it is about presence. By reducing the number of species, we magnify the individuality of each. We create opportunities for the viewer to slow down, to notice the texture of a leaf, the sharp edge of a succulent, the delicate oscillation of grass in the wind. It is in this slowing down that the garden becomes not just visual, but meditative. The clarity of the arrangement invites reflection, much like stepping into a carefully proportioned architectural space. The boundaries dissolve between nature and design. They speak the same language of balance and proportion. And then there is the question of containment. The vessel in which a plant sits is no longer just functional. It is an integral part of the composition. A smooth concrete planter, cool and grey, provides a quiet backdrop that allows the plant's geometry to shine. A ceramic pot in muted tones anchors the greenery with an understated weight. These are not decorative afterthoughts, but architectural components in their own right. They frame the plants, they set them on stage, they heighten their impact. When aligned in rows or staggered with precision, these planters become part of the rhythm of the garden, guiding the eye and organising space. As in architecture, structure and detail are inseparable. Sustainability is a silent yet powerful layer in this philosophy. The plants we choose are not only visually striking but resilient. They require little maintenance, little water, little intervention. They are allies in our pursuit of both beauty and responsibility. By choosing species adapted to the climate, by reducing excessive care, we respect the natural order while preserving resources. This, to me, is the essence of a sustainable aesthetic, design that endures both visually and ecologically. The modern garden does not fight against nature's rhythm, it works in harmony with it. Consider how this approach reshapes the atmosphere of even the smallest outdoor spaces. A balcony with 2 sculptural plants, 1 striking wall-mounted planter, and a clean floor surface can feel larger than a yard overcrowded with greenery. The uncluttered space offers serenity. It allows a resident to step outside and feel both grounded and expanded. This is the paradox of minimalism. By reducing, we enhance. By limiting, we amplify. Every design decision becomes visible, every element intentional. Nothing is noise, everything is signal. What excites me most is how this minimalism transforms the garden into an architectural extension of the home. The lines of the planters align with the geometry of the patio. The rhythm of plants echoes the rhythm of the windows or the facade. The material palette, stone, concrete, wood, speaks across the threshold, creating continuity between interior and exterior. Suddenly, the garden is no longer an accessory. It is part of the house's design narrative. It is a room without walls, a corridor without ceiling, yet entirely deliberate in its form and function. And within this narrative, the plants are not mere decoration. They are characters, protagonists, each holding its own presence in the story. As I walk you through this vision, I ask you to picture not a sprawling estate, but a modest urban terrace. In such a compact space, the principles of clarity and restraint are most powerful. A single sculptural tree in a tall planter, flanked by two textured grasses, creates harmony. The ground, uncluttered, emphasizes proportion. The air feels lighter, the eye calmer, the experience more profound. This is design working at its most human scale. Accessible, intimate, deeply personal. Every person, no matter the size of their outdoor space, can embrace this approach, and every space, no matter how small, can become a sanctuary when treated with care, restraint, and intention. Thus, the minimalist plant philosophy of 2025 is not simply a trend, but a design ethos. It reminds us that beauty does not come from abundance, but from balance, from focus, from the courage to let go of excess. It challenges us to see the garden not as a place to display everything, but as a place to celebrate a few chosen forms. In this way, it aligns with the broader cultural movement toward intentional living, owning less but valuing more, reducing clutter to uncover clarity. The garden becomes a metaphor for the life we seek, calm, ordered, meaningful. This is the foundation of modern outdoor design, a canvas defined by simplicity, marked by restraint, and elevated by presence. The minimalist plant is the first principle, the cornerstone upon which we build the rest of the experience. And in acknowledging this, we begin to understand that a garden is not merely grown, but designed, crafted with the same discipline, vision, and artistry as any piece of architecture. Here, in the quiet presence of a few carefully chosen plants, the future of modern outdoor living begins. If the structure of the garden begins with the clarity of plants, then its soul is revealed when light enters the composition. In architecture, light is never incidental. It is the invisible material that shapes space, defines mood, and gives form to surfaces. The same is true in the modern garden of 2025. Illumination has moved beyond mere functionality, beyond the simple need to see in the dark. Today, light is design. It is atmosphere. It is storytelling woven into the evening air. When I design with light outdoors, I approach it as I would a series of architectural accents. I think of the garden not in daylight, where every detail is visible, but at night, when shadows lengthen and perception changes. In darkness, the garden has the potential to transform into something ethereal, even otherworldly. A single spotlight can turn a tree into a monument. A strand of lights across a pergola can suggest intimacy, festivity, or a sense of wonder. The choice is deliberate. Each fixture becomes a brushstroke on the canvas of night. The technology available to us now elevates this art form. In 2025, smart lighting systems allow control not only over brightness, but over color, temperature, and timing. This is revolutionary because it gives the homeowner the power of a stage designer. With a few touches on a mobile app or a simple voice command, a garden can shift from serene to vibrant, from warm to cool, from meditative retreat to lively gathering space. One evening, the patio glows with soft amber light for an intimate dinner. The next night, it pulses with a cooler blue for a celebration with friends. The garden becomes dynamic, responsive, alive, and beneath this adaptability lies sustainability. Solar-powered lights harvesting energy during the day, LED bulbs consuming a fraction of the electricity older systems demanded. The result is both atmospheric and responsible. But beyond the technology, what fascinates me most as an architect is the ability of light to direct attention. In a minimalist garden where plants are chosen sparingly, light becomes the means by which we frame them, highlight them, give them presence after sunset. Imagine a sculptural agave lit from below, its sharp edges casting shadows like folded origami. Picture a vertical green wall washed with a gentle glow, its texture coming alive against the dark. Consider a small fountain, its surface catching twinkling reflections from above. These gestures do not overwhelm, they accentuate. They allow the garden to reveal new dimensions, unseen in daylight, as if the space has two lives, one for the sun and one for the moon. And then there is the subtlety of path lighting. In a garden, movement matters. Where we walk, how we transition, how the eye follows a sequence. These are architectural questions. Low in-ground lights tracing a walkway not only guide footsteps but create rhythm. They choreograph the visitor's journey, leading them gently from one space to another. Just as I would light a hallway to reveal its length and proportion, I use garden lighting to reveal depth, to layer perspective, to make a small space feel expansive. Every glow, every shadow is a cue for the senses. Yet the role of lighting is not purely visual, it is emotional. The atmosphere of a garden at night is defined not by the plants or the furniture, but by the quality of light. A dim, golden tone invites calm, reflection, intimacy. A brighter, cooler cast energizes, uplifts, prepares for social interaction. This emotional language of light is as crucial as any architectural detail. It allows the garden to align with the mood of its inhabitants. It transforms a static environment into one that responds to human needs in real time. The garden is no longer passive, it participates in the life of the household. One of the most powerful design moves is restraint in lighting. To leave parts of the garden in shadow is as important as illuminating others. Contrast creates mystery. Darkness allows imagination to wander, while focused beams draw attention to what matters most. This is not about flooding the space with light, but about composing with it. Just as a well-proportioned building uses solid and void, the garden at night uses light and shadow. The result is depth, dimension, a sense of discovery. Sustainability once again reinforces the integrity of the design. Energy-efficient LEDs are not only practical but durable, ensuring longevity with minimal maintenance. Solar solutions capture energy silently, aligning the garden with the rhythms of the sun. The responsible use of resources is embedded seamlessly into the experience, so that beauty and ethics coexist. This is the essence of modern outdoor living: pleasure without excess, atmosphere without waste. Think of a small courtyard, once ordinary, now transformed. During the day, a few minimalist plants define the space. As evening falls, discrete fixtures awaken the design. A sculptural succulent glows like a living lantern. A soft wash highlights the grain of a wooden wall. String lights drape overhead, suggesting both intimacy and openness. The air is quiet, yet alive. This is no longer just a backyard, it is a stage, a sanctuary, an environment designed for both solitude and gathering. It becomes clear that light is not an accessory, but the very medium through which the garden tells its story after dark. As an architect, I see this movement toward lighting not as a trend, but as a deepening of design culture. It teaches us to recognize the ephemeral qualities of space. It shows us that a garden can be more than static. It can change, adapt, and evolve with time and mood. In this way, light aligns the garden with life itself, shifting, dynamic, endlessly renewing. The outdoor space ceases to be background. It becomes an active participant in daily rituals. It reflects not just who we are, but how we wish to feel moment to moment. In 2025, the modern garden embraces light as art, as technology, as atmosphere. Minimalist plants give structure, but light gives emotion. Together, they transform small spaces into expansive experiences. They prove that design is not measured in square meters, but in depth of feeling. And when night falls, it is light, soft, deliberate, intelligent, that carries the narrative forward, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary, and garden into a timeless extension of the home. If plants provide the foundation and light shapes the atmosphere, then the patio is the heart, the central gathering place where design becomes lived experience. In 2025, this heart has taken on new significance. The patio is no longer a simple outdoor extension, a surface for furniture or a temporary spot for leisure. It is an intentional hub, a multifunctional stage where daily life unfolds, where the boundaries between indoors and outdoors dissolve into a seamless continuum. When I design a patio today, I do so with the same rigor as I would a living room, because that is precisely what it has become. An outdoor living room, with all the intimacy, flexibility and refinement of interior space, but framed by the sky. The key to this transformation lies in flexibility. Urban life has made outdoor areas increasingly compact, yet the desire for comfort and connection has only grown stronger. In such limited dimensions, adaptability becomes the architect's most valuable tool. Furniture is no longer static but modular. A bistro table folds away when not in use, freeing precious floor space. Sofas hide compartments, doubling as storage for cushions or throws. A bench transforms from seating into a planter base. Each element is designed to do more than one thing, because every square meter must be justified, every gesture purposeful. This is the architectural mindset applied to the smallest of scales. The material palette grounds the design in both ethics and aesthetics. Recycled wood tells a story of renewal, of respecting resources. Bamboo offers strength with sustainability, its rapid growth cycle reminding us of nature's resilience. Stone and ceramics add permanence, their textures rooting the space in the timeless language of earth. These materials are not chosen simply for durability, but for their honesty. They age gracefully, acquiring patina and character rather than wearing down. As an architect, I value this endurance. A patio should not only function, but evolve, becoming more beautiful as it absorbs the life of its inhabitants. The chromatic scheme is equally intentional. Neutral tones, soft greys, muted greens, earthy browns, do not compete with the natural world, they harmonize with it. These palettes calm the eye and create continuity between plant, light, and surface. They allow the greenery to speak without distraction, the lighting to glow without discord. When textures are layered, woven rugs beneath the feet, weather-resistant cushions offering softness, throws draped casually over chairs, the effect is one of subtle richness. Comfort emerges not from extravagance, but from the thoughtful layering of sensory experiences. Sight, touch, sound, and atmosphere working in unison. A true modern patio also embraces verticality. In limited space, walls become canvases. Mounted planters rise upward, transforming blank surfaces into living compositions. Pergolas introduce overhead structure framing the sky, while retractable awnings provide shade and adaptability against changing weather. These vertical gestures expand the perception of the patio, turning small spaces into multidimensional experiences. They invite the eye upward, outward, beyond the boundary of the ground plane. The result is not confinement but expansion, a garden that feels larger than its dimensions, because design engages all axes, horizontal, vertical, and atmospheric. What excites me most is the blending of interior and exterior languages. When light fixtures, furniture silhouettes, and material palettes are chosen to echo those indoors, the transition from living room to patio becomes fluid. The walls of the home no longer signify an abrupt ending. Instead, they dissolve into continuity. The patio becomes a threshold, a liminal space where the intimacy of home meets the openness of nature. In this sense, the patio is not an addition, but an integration, a completion of the architectural experience. To step onto it is not to leave the house, but to extend it into another realm, one where the horizon is as much a boundary as the ceiling once was. And within this heart of the garden lies the social dimension. The patio is where people gather, family meals, conversations with friends, solitary mornings with a book. Its design must therefore accommodate both solitude and community. A corner with a lounge chair offers retreat, a central table invites gathering. Lighting softens transitions between the two, allowing the space to shift from personal sanctuary to communal hub. Just as the living room adapts to moods and occasions, so must the patio. It is a flexible canvas, defined not by a single purpose, but by its ability to host multiple narratives. This is where the modern philosophy of outdoor design culminates. Minimalist plants give structure, defining the garden's architectural language. Lighting animates the space, offering atmosphere and adaptability, And the patio, designed with precision and warmth, becomes the place where these elements converge. It is both frame and stage, both shelter and exposure, both house and garden. In this convergence, the modern garden transcends decoration. It becomes an environment of living. It becomes a sanctuary of balance, where simplicity coexists with richness, where sustainability aligns with comfort, where beauty is not ornamental but essential. I imagine a small urban courtyard transformed by these principles. A neutral stone floor grounds the space. Along one edge, a modular sofa rests against a wall of vertical greenery, cushions inviting rest. Above, a pergola supports soft string lights, their glow adjustable to mood. To one side, a table of recycled wood waits for morning coffee or evening meals. Potted grasses sway at the perimeter, their shadows dancing under uplights. The air feels curated yet natural, restrained yet abundant. In such a space, life unfolds effortlessly. Solitude in the early hours, conversation in the evening, reflection under the stars. The patio is not just furniture on stone, it is architecture extended, human experience elevated. Thus, in 2025, the garden is no longer separate from daily living. It is not an accessory nor an afterthought. It is a living environment shaped by design principles as rigorous as those applied to interiors. Minimalist plants, smart lighting, and intentional patios form the triad of this philosophy. Each on its own has strength. Together, they create harmony. They remind us that beauty lies not in abundance but in intention, not in size but in meaning. A garden need not be sprawling to be profound. Even the smallest corner, when crafted with clarity and purpose, can become a sanctuary. And so the narrative of modern outdoor living is complete. The garden of 2025 embodies a way of life. Simple yet sophisticated, sustainable yet indulgent, modest in scale yet grand in experience. It is a place where architecture and nature converse, where humans reconnect with both environment and self. This is not just design, it is philosophy lived in space. It is the reminder that every garden, no matter how compact, holds the potential to be not just a place outside the home, but a heart within it.